What is up, everybody? Today we are talking about Invincible Season 3 Episode 8, and this is the season finale, and let me just say, it was crazy. Before I start the video, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel, leave a like on this video, and comment down below your thoughts. I want to start off by talking about the animation in this episode because it is just on a whole nother level. Like, there has been so many complaints, especially this season, about the animation, saying it's like just stock images like going across the screen, and they really outdid themselves in this episode. Like, the animation is amazing. I have made an animation myself, so just to see these shots like go where the camera's like going around the character, those are very hard to do, and this episode had so many of those moments, so I really appreciated this step up in animation in this episode. So I hope the next couple seasons will be that same level of animation, and not just for the final episode, but I really enjoyed it. So pretty much the entirety of this episode is Conquest versus Invincible. Like, they're fighting throughout the city, and it is destruction on destruction. It is crazy. One thing I want to point out about Conquest, and if you saw in this episode, he had this like arm gauntlet thing, like a robotic arm, and that is because in the comics it was actually bitten off by one of like an alien species that are like very powerful, so he has to wear this like robotic arm now. So yes, they're fighting throughout the city, causing so much havoc and so much destruction, and there's a moment where Conquest tells Invincible why he's doing this, and he says that the Viltrumite army sent him and sends him to different planets to conquer those planets, and he literally has not been beaten one time. There's one moment where Conquest is about to kill Invincible once and for all, and he sits down and whispers in Invincible's ear, and he says that he is very lonely and like he has no friends and nobody likes him, everybody's just scared of him. But then he tells Invincible, nobody's going to ever know that because I'm about to kill you right now. So I do want to take a moment to talk about Oliver, because he is definitely growing on me in this series. Like, he, in this episode, tries to go help Invincible. He leaves his house and his mom and tries to go help him, and he gets beaten by Conquest, man. I thought Oliver was definitely dead for sure, but he ends up being okay. I guess his healing powers like helped him out a lot, but he was just, his power was not even close to Invincible or Conquest. So I mean, it was cool to see him try to fight in this episode, but it was definitely scaring me a little bit. We then cut to Eve in the hospital from the Invincible War episode, last episode, and Eve is like still, she has all this stuff on her, like trying to heal, but she wakes up and her parents are right there, and she sees Invincible on the news, and she's like, I gotta go help him. And Cecil's like, you do not need to be doing this, but she does it anyway, and she goes and tries to help Invincible. Once she gets there, Invincible is like, you do not need to be here, you're literally going to die from Conquest, like, you need to get away. And he, like, Invincible loves Eve, so I understand, but she actually holds her own here. Like, she builds this like molecular thing around her, like a force field kind of, and Conquest literally cannot get in, and she's like beating down Conquest, so she's actually doing very well for herself, but he eventually does get to her, and I thought she was totally gone, but something does happen with her later on in the episode that surprised me very much. Conquest is on top of Invincible at this point, and he is just beating him down. This is where he whispers to him that you're not gonna know what I said about being lonely, and Invincible just literally cannot do anything for himself now, and Invincible thinks that Eve is like dead, and then Eve goes basically Super Saiyan, like the Sonic version, and she turns into this like crazy pink version of herself, and she blasts Conquest with her energy beam, and he is literally like a burnt. His entire body is just burnt. Eve was able to do this because when she was a child, her like parents or whoever was taking care of her had this like stoppage on her to where her powers couldn't go a certain level. But whenever she's introduced to any kind of like intense trauma, or whenever it gets past a certain point, she was able to pull out her like full powers, and she did, and it was amazing. So yeah, she blasts Conquest, and his body is like all burnt, and then Invincible gets up, and he is able to beat Conquest and kill him. Invincible and Eve are both like very tired at this point, and Invincible goes over to Eve and just like lays on her, and then Cecil shows up, the whole crew, all the Guardians, and everybody shows up, and they are trying to help them, and everyone goes to the hospital. Everyone's back in the hospital, and Invincible's okay, Oliver's okay, and Eve's okay, but Invincible and Oliver, Mark and Oliver kind of have a little discussion, and Mark is just basically like, I'm not going to let anybody come past my family again. Like, if somebody tries to threaten me, I'm going to end it. Like, I'm not plane anymore. And he tells Cecil, like, let me see the body of Conquest to make sure that he's dead for sure, because I do not want that guy coming back to life. And Cecil's like, okay. And I think Cecil shows him a fake body, because later on we see that Cecil has Conquest's like head, I don't know if it's his whole body, in this like huge machine, so that when he wakes up, he'll be able to question him about the Viltrumite Empire. I feel like we already know for sure that like Conquest is gonna get out of this. Like, he is 1000% gonna get out of this and wreak havoc again, but we just gotta wait till next season to see that. Finally, we have Rex's funeral, and this is a very sad scene. Like, all the Guardians are there, and I think Eve is very sad. Invincible is just glad Eve's alive, but we do get the robot guy, the robot kid guy. I don't know his name, but he basically changes his name to Rex, and this like alludes to the future scene we saw in season 2, where you had Eve with the short hair and then Rex. And we thought it was Rex, but it was actually a robot, and that's why he had the robot suit on. So yeah, that is basically it for the season finale of Invincible Season 3. What did you guys think of this episode? I thought the entire season was pretty good. I will say the animation was a little bit spotty in some scenes, but I can honestly get over that. Like, animation is hard, and if they're just going to save their greatest animation work for the last episode, I think I'm honestly okay with that. The fight between Conquest and Invincible was very, very good and very enjoyable to watch, but I will say I think the fight between Omni-Man and Invincible from season 1 was still my favorite out of all, because that fight is just, I thought that fight was amazing. Please like this video, guys. Please subscribe to this channel. Please let me know in the comments down below what you thought about this episode. Do you think the next season is going to be good? What did you think about this whole season, like, as a whole? I thought it was great, but yeah, what did you guys think? We have Severance episode 9 coming out tonight, so I'll be making a video on that tomorrow, so please go check that out tomorrow. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you next time.